Good morning, everyone. Had a bunch of calls and PMs and a bunch of comments on my last video. It wasn't that big of a deal. The things I said, 5 up, 3 down on the thumbing. I like it when I have a good mix of thumbing like this one that has like 13 up, 9 down. And what was the other one? I've had some where, the thumbs are like 6 up, 6 down. I think when you get a mix like that and you're not just pandering to your audience, you're doing something right. Maybe this one will have a few more thumbs as time goes on. But, yeah, I even had a video response of sorts from Hatred 42. So, of all the comments I got, I'll have to say that I liked Durican's comments the most. Not so much because he agreed with me, but because I think he understood what I was saying and wasn't just hearing what he wanted to hear to argue something. First of all, I know I was trying to draw a distinction between artist as a profession and artist as a hobby, and I was saying, professional artist and art hobbyist, Now, imagine that instead of me feeding into your narrative of, oh, this guy's saying what I do isn't making art. Imagine if what I meant by that was these are both under the umbrella of places that you will find sources of art. Okay? The product of both can be considered art. In fact, art hobbyists often make art that is regarded as better than those who are professional artists. Alright? But what I was trying to convey to people is the importance of creating enough good times in your life by supporting yourself that you can create good art and not have to worry about financial constraint. And in order to get there, you have to support yourself. And if all you want to do with your life is create art and you don't want to do anything else, then you better, part of the time at least, be that professional artist that creates art that makes you enough money to get you to that point where you can make some art where you don't have to give a fuck about what anybody else wants or thinks. Okay? So, yeah, people in the comments, they either got what I was trying to say or didn't there. They wanted to say that I was saying if it doesn't make money, then it's not art. Go ahead and parse my video and try to find where I said that. No. I'm saying that you need to realize if you are counting on your art to make you money in order to support you to make more art, or somebody asks you what you are doing with your life and you say, I'm an artist, and they say, what do you do? I'm an artist. There are different things that you are leading people on to believe if you don't put in the caveats of, well, I'm an artist when I'm doing what I want to do, but I actually am, an attendant at a car wash station or a barista or something. And I got a comment from Conference Report, and the first sentence of it was, "This is really disappointingly reactionary." And while what he says after that, it makes sense to me, the point that he's making, it didn't really hit home. What hit home for me was that first part. This is really disappointingly reactionary. And I want to say that when I'm sharing my feelings in these rambles that I label ramble, it is reactionary. This is like my video diary, and this is me feeling life in a way, and sharing it. And what I have seen having a market where we run craft fairs is sometimes really depressing. I've seen people really, really counting on their art selling and it not going anywhere. Not naming names, but I just saw a panel. I'm going to call it a painting because the person that had it would probably want it to be called a painting. But I just saw a panel that basically faded from red to blue. And there were probably 10,000 brush strokes. But if you could just imagine a big rectangle fading red to blue, that's what it was. And it didn't sell. And I'm sure a lot of work went into it. And none of that work at all was worrying about, is the person who was going to be the recipient of my message going to be able to decipher what I meant by this panel fading red to blue. Somebody might enjoy it, and it might actually look good in somebody's special room somewhere, and they might buy it, but they didn't. And to get away from painting, I'll use another example. A guy made snowflakes out of beads that you can buy at Walmart, and he put a $15 price tag on a bunch of beadery. Now, he priced the snowflakes in accordance with how much time he actually put in, so at least he had that part of economics correct, in that if you're going to spend that much time, you better get a certain amount of money, or else you are at a loss, at a big loss, and you might run into not being able to support yourself or your craft or hobby. And I watched this guy sit for about 8 hours and not make any sales whatsoever because he priced himself out of sales. I don't think that his beaded snowflakes were as good as some of the others that I had seen. And maybe they were worth 3. Seriously, 3. And probably the materials that went into it cost 3. So, like I said in my previous video, I really wish that there were economics classes with art education, you know? And I don't even think this guy was educated in art to begin with, but sometimes I just see things that are sad. And that is my reactionary point of view here, is that I see a lot of sadness from people just really needing money at all in my market. Every day I have people put something on my table before I even have a chance to say, no, we're not buying. And they will give me their entire sales pitch on it. And, you know, they don't take no for an answer until the 20th no that I give them. I've become very skilled at saying no in many different diplomatic ways. And so, yeah, I'm having a reaction to the economy being down. And it is coming out in my videos. And this is me. Okay? And when I say that somebody who does not support themselves or make money with their art is different than somebody who does, I don't mean to say that the product of their art that they're making could not become profitable. You know, sometimes it's not the art or the technique that is keeping someone from being successful or financially successful in the art world. You know, sometimes it is. Sometimes it would just take a little bit of tweaking in order to get somebody to a better profit margin. I myself just learned from a friend of mine, Amanda King, about poor man's charcoal and chopsticks. You know, I've been using pencil and pen and ink and charcoal for a very long time. Not so much any other medium. Mostly pencil. And when I learned that there were artists that would go eat Chinese food and take the chopsticks and actually use those chopsticks for months making art out of it with poor man's charcoal, I was just like, wow, that really takes the bottom line out of the cost of the art, Then it's just whatever medium that you're scratching on, because you can go out and get a stick. And actually Amanda did go get a stick and burn it and do something that was very pretty. It was lily pads. And it is up on the wall for sale in my market. It hasn't sold yet, but I would say that the profit margin is there for selling at the price that she put it. And, it's possible that there's an artist out there who's using a different medium that just could make a very little transition into that and really cut costs and make something awesome and make a profit, rather than investing more into their materials than they get from selling it. And yeah, I'm not going to say that a straw man or straw woman, or in one case straw MILF, I'm not going to say any of that makes the points that were reactions to my video invalid. Because just as, someone might say that art is subjective, I'm going to just say that, if you didn't get what I was trying to say, part of the reason is because I don't communicate well, and I'll just admit it. After 1,000 videos on YouTube, people still don't understand me, fine. But the points, even if I didn't mean what they think I meant, or I said something that I didn't mean, whichever way it went, the points are good. Now, I'll point you all to Hatred 42, Robert Wallace's What is Art video. And even though there are points that I might disagree with in it, it was a 27-minute enjoyable video. So, yeah, I'll say about it, it's kind of weird that, he'll say that art is subjective and then not be happy with me deriding Jackson Pollock. He's a fan of Jackson Pollock. But, if art is subjective, then you have to expect that some people are going to not like the work and not understand it at all, and not see any understanding in other people's understanding of it. You have to expect that there's, for every fan, there might be somebody at the opposite end of the spectrum, and I think that's where we are there. So, yeah. And rather than see what I was trying to say about Jackson Pollock's fame being more hype and more cult of fandom than actual appreciation, I guess and it's hard to put into words here. Rather than see what I was trying to say about how I think a lot of what it is the appreciation of this certain painter is hype. Rather than see my point about that, he's going to use that as an example of one person that made a lot of money and say that, well, you say that if people don't make money, it isn't art, which I didn't say. I said people who don't make the money with their art don't have artisan as a profession. But the produce that comes from their time sitting at a desk and doing something, that can still be considered art. And if that was the concession that you were looking for that I didn't say enough or at all, then there it is, okay? Yeah, and there are art hobbyists who make better art than professional artists. It happens all the time. There are a lot of people who just don't understand how to capitalize on their art, and there are a lot of people who don't care to at all, and don't even make art for more than a couple people, if at all, to look at. I get you there. What you're not getting is me pointing to a problem that is very reactionary to the things that I see in my everyday life, and that is seeing people who could be profitable artists stuck on trying to make art that is completely irrespective of their audience, and then expecting to make huge sums of money because they have the example of Jackson Pollock and others that they are trying to emulate. Okay, this is the problem that I see. And I was offering up a solution, part of which is, let's make a playground. Help me make this playground. The title of my video was Help Me Maintain the Playground. And what I'm saying is, sell out a little bit. Fucking sell out just enough, to support yourself so that you can get to that place where you can make that, I don't care about my audience, I'm going to express myself and do exactly what I want to do moment. But if everyone is just stubbornly insisting on never doing anything that people want, then nobody is going to be making this playground. This point was completely absent of any sort of criticism in Hatred 42's video, and I don't think that it was really understood by more than just Durican in the comments here. We have a culture that is leading to a bunch of grasshoppers with no ants to feed them during the winter. And I'm not saying don't make a crazy push the envelope piece of art. Okay? I'm not saying don't push the envelope at all. I'm saying at least sell out enough to fucking support yourself if you can. Okay? At least make an attempt. If you can't, and you made an honest attempt, I'm not going to hold that against you. But if you can, and you can do for even more than just you, and have some time to make a piece that you really care about versus the pieces that you do for other people, please, please do. Because there's a lot of people out there who just will never get the economics of the art that they make, and they will never get how much other people's work goes into supporting them for the gifts that they bring to the rest of us. And that is using euphemisms, because I am feeling a lot meaner than that. Okay? Reactionary. Conference report has no idea really how reactionary this is, because he doesn't see what I see every day. One of the things I do in my market is I'm part of the Lifeline phone program, the Obama phone program, if you will, and I just help people fill out forms in order to get a free cell phone. And it has brought me some really interesting moments to be serving the least among my community, as far as what they have, and trying to help them at least save $50 a month. And some of the stories that I get told really rip your heart out, throw it on the floor, and stomp on it. Not to mention that my market is where the smallest of small businesses actually start, and then, it's people that are actually, like, they've been through a lot, and they're just finally starting to try to branch out into entrepreneurial endeavors. I've got a couple that opened a booth that their real jobs are that they work, both of them, at two different Little Caesars pizza places, and they work so many shifts, and when I see them work together to put things in their booth and do something on the side in order to make a little bit extra money, it's to see their teamwork is beautiful in the face of all of the struggle that they have, in working any shift that comes their way and still not making ends meet, with two of them in the same household, bringing home the bacon, as it will. It's I see a lot of shit. So yeah, reactionary I am. But the person who I promised an answer to his question was actually Kizame. And he wants to know, why does art have to be intellectually meaningful? Why can't it just be emotionally meaningful? Why does art have to make someone think about something in specific? I'd venture to say most of the time people don't interpret art the way the artist intended it to be interpreted, if the artist actually wanted to interpret something very specific in the first place. Sometimes art is just a representation of a feeling. Sometimes it's just pretty. Sometimes it's just ugly. Sometimes it has no actual meaning and just is what it is. Yeah. Where to begin with that? When you say that, why does art have to be intellectually meaningful? Why can't it just be emotionally meaningful? Are you saying emotions that you can't detect yourself? That you wouldn't on an intellectual level, be able to tell that you just had. I don't even know that I said that it can't be emotionally meaningful, because I think that that would be a message that you could convey, just like plain happiness. And I do remember saying that art should convey a message, but I will now concede that it could just be functional art. It could be art where you can't really put your finger on what exactly it is that it is trying to say, but everyone gets put in that same state or a similar state of something just happened, and we're all confused. Maybe that confusion is that message that is being conveyed. I would say that Andy Kaufman's antics left a whole bunch of people stunned, after any one of his performances, and that reaction, that was something. But then you go on to say, why does it have to be something specific? And you say that most of the time people don't interpret art the way the artist intended it. Not the case with me. If I do a piece, especially on commission, most of the time people do get what I am doing. In fact, the reason why my art sells at a faster rate, quantity-wise, is because I'm not doing things that are ideas that sprang from my head. They're more communal ideas that I don't have the right to call original at all. Even if the celebrity picture or the comic book character, even if they are actual originals, even if I do them from my head, the concept of the superhero is not mine. It's something that everybody already knows about, and that's why they sell it. So, not the case with me, but if you say that people don't interpret it like the way that it was intended exactly, I'll concede. But I think many times a piece of art will, in general, evoke the same emotions if it comes from a certain genre of art. There are pieces of art in certain genres that everyone's going to have a different feeling about, and it's that that realm of art that I do stray away from, and I am the polar opposite of. And in order to really answer your question about why I think there has to be a message conveyed by art, okay, I'm going to give you an allegory. And this is some fucking deep philosophical aesthetics thinking here, okay? So everyone fucking pay attention, because Robert Wallace thinks that I just stumbled on the question of what is art, okay? I'm going to say that close, but actually what I've stumbled onto here is what is not art. That's what I really want to know. I want everybody who's made it 29 minutes into this video to go ahead and leave a comment and tell me what is not art. Okay? And the allegory I'm going to give you, in order to just pepper this for you, is the allegory of the magic fucking 8-ball of prayer. Okay? Now, a lot of us in this community of atheists and theists that make up most of my viewing audience here. You came from, say, a group of friends, maybe a church, a circle of your personal confidants who would tell you, hey, you need to pray about this, in order to make it happen. And maybe it was, say, Kizame wants a prom dress, right? In time for prom. So Kizame prays, right? Please, God, please give me this prom dress, or give me the money so that I can go get the prom dress. Please, 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 please. Now, there are a couple different possibilities that spring forth from the allegory of the magic fucking 8-ball of prayer. It could be yes, and Kizame gets the dress. It could be no. It could be maybe later. Maybe he doesn't get it right now, but maybe it wasn't meant to be just at this moment, so maybe a little bit later in life. But whatever happens, come that day that Kizame actually has to have that formal dress in order to have it, sized and hemmed and have the hips let out a little bit. Come that day, whatever happens, his friends are going to tell him, well, this is God's will. God has answered your prayer. So my question, which parallels this other thing that we're talking about, is, when does God not answer prayer if getting the prom dress means God answered the prayer? If not getting the prom dress means God answered the prayer, no. If getting the prom dress a week late means God said maybe later. And every different possibility has a rationalization which equals God exists and answered that fucking prayer. So, what is not an answered prayer from God? And in this way, I'm applying this to what I was talking about before. What is not art? If it's sometimes art is a representation of a feeling, sometimes it's just pretty, sometimes it's just ugly, sometimes it has no actual meaning and it is just what it is. Sometimes it's every breath you take, sometimes it's every move you make. What is not art?